we have to understand that words matter. And I'm just so sick and tired of living in a society and living in a place around people who think that words are not important. That, oh, whatever, we'll just say this and say that and they'll get it no matter what. No, they won't. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Must Become YouTube channel. My name is Spencer, and I believe that what you can become, you must become. That means any motivation, any potential, anything that you have within you that you could use to become the best version of yourself, I believe that it's your obligation to use it and become that person. Guys, before this video starts, leave me a like if you like any of my former content, because it lets everybody know out in the algorithm that it's worth their watching. Secondly, please subscribe to my channel if you really like any of my content and you want to make sure that you see every single video that comes out. I would hate for you guys to miss a video that's super important to your life right now and miss it because you don't hit that subscribe button or the notification bell and don't get that notification. So before we get into this video, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Guys, this video today is about how words matter, okay? Words fucking matter. Too often now, people just throw words around and they say whatever they want. They don't actually mean what they say and say what they mean. They feel like they can just kind of say things and hope that everyone understands what they mean, even though if they look back, they understand why people were confused about what they said. Guys, this is a little bit of a rant, to be honest with you. I see this so often. I see people who get away with using lackluster words, or their vocabulary is so weak and yet they're supposed to be in a position of power or a position of leadership, especially in business. Now, there's other places, of course, where this is the case, especially in business. If you're leading people, you cannot expect that every single one of those people is gonna have the ability to read your mind. You have to be able to convey a message with your words that, generally speaking, is unanimously understood. Okay, so let's look at the way a great storyteller, someone like J.R.R. Tolkien, or someone who's just written a book that everyone knows. Everyone knows Lord of the Rings. They've heard of it. And even if they don't know Lord of the Rings, they generally know the story that's in Lord of the Rings, in the movie, in the book, whatever. And the reason why is because this was written so specifically in such a way that's so unambiguous that it's very clear what the story is. You don't even have to have seen it for someone to be able to explain it to you. It could be a big long game of telephone, and yet you still know that Frodo goes to some mountain with a ring and tosses it in, and he's against some other guy who has a sword, or maybe he doesn't have a sword, or whatever it is. But generally, you know the story of Lord of the Rings. Generally, you know it. If he can do it, if he can take the time now, albeit he is a writer, what came first, his ability to write or the fact that he was a writer? You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that words matter. And I'm just so sick and tired of living in a society and living in a place around people who think that words are not important. That, oh, whatever, we'll just say this and say that and they'll get it no matter what. No, they won't. Especially when your business or your livelihood or your craft depends on your ability to convey a message. You cannot just convey any message and expect that potentially an employee will execute on the message you gave them, when the message you gave them can be interpreted 100 different ways by 100 different people. Now, of course, you're not going to always be able to do this, but what I'm talking about is there's a difference between people who make accidents with their vocabulary, their grammar, whatever, which may be confusing, and then there's people who are just downright lazy. The people who say, oh, you know what I mean, at the end of every single sentence. Now look, even I say that all the time. It's not a criminal offense to say you know what I mean and have someone kind of meet you maybe halfway. But if you're doing that all the time and your job depends on communicating a message to somebody, then you cannot constantly have them meet you halfway, because if they do, then what happens when someone meets you halfway on a completely different road than the other person? And again, this might be okay for someone whose job or whose livelihood or whose craft does not depend on communication. But for most of us, especially young men, it does depend on us being able to speak up, say our message, and advocate for what we believe in. If you don't do that, then you're basically just another person who will be passed over, and there's no way you're becoming what you must become if you're just being passed over, completely forgotten, and nobody remembers anything you've ever done. The way it seems to me is, in the universe, out there are concepts, okay? We have concepts. We have things about certain ideals. We have certain understandings of real things. I could say that's a shrub, and you could say, yes, that's a shrub, or that's a tree. Yes, that's a tree. We have a concept of a tree. But when we talk about concepts and we apply words to them, really what we're doing is just taking this large human experience and we're drawing circles around it. And we're saying this circle is mutually exclusive to this circle. So when I say tree, that circle that encapsulates that concept is a different concept than when I say ocean. When I say ocean, you have a certain image in mind because I've drawn a circle around that concept and said this is mutually exclusive from a tree. But imagine if I were to just put, okay, my hands together. As you can see, my hands are together right in front of you, right? It might not be super obvious without our words of saying left hand, right hand, or having these concepts that we understand that my hands are two separate things. It'd be very easy to look at this and see this as one unified thing. Now, It's similar where if I talk about me, I talk about me, the person, Spencer. Now, to begin to show you how concepts can begin to be confusing in these circles and these words that we use, we can begin to see that we can ask ourselves, in what sense am I the same Spencer that I was in my last video, in the video before, or the same Spencer that I'll be in the next video or the video after that? There's this philosophical kind of problem that helps us understand the nature of concepts and the way we apply certain terms to things. And it's called Odysseus's ship. So the guy's name is Odysseus and it's about his ship, okay? So the idea is conceive of a ship. Just imagine a ship that was built of 100 pieces of wood, okay? Maybe that's not realistic, but we'll say 100 pieces of wood. Now, every single day, we're gonna take one piece of wood and we're gonna exchange it with a new piece of wood, okay? We're slowly making this ship a little bit more modernized as time goes on. It starts with 100 pieces of wood, and every day we're just gonna change one piece of wood. Now, after 100 days, you're going to have a new ship, in a sense. And that's exactly what I'm gonna get to, it's in a sense, okay? 100 pieces of wood, 100 days later, now you're gonna have this old wood over here and this new wood over here. This new wood's built into a ship, but let's say we take this wood, this 100 pieces of wood that used to comprise Odysseus's ship, okay? Now we build a new ship with that exact original 100 pieces of wood. Now, which one is Odysseus's ship? The strange thing is that the new one was always the ship until there was this other thing to have a claim to originality because it has all the original pieces of wood when we initially made the claim that this is his ship. So the point that I'm getting at is there's no obvious answer. You might be tempted to say, oh, it's this one or oh, it's that one, but there's an argument both ways. And so we draw circles around these concepts and we say this is this and this is that. Now, if we continue to use words however we want and we just throw them out and we don't use them in some sort of way that's understood by the person we're speaking with or the people, the group that we're trying to educate or inform or ask to execute on a task, then it's very difficult to see exactly what the outputs are going to be. If we don't have control over the actual inputs and we don't take control over the inputs, then whatever outputs come out, it's gonna be very difficult to anticipate. It's gonna be very, very difficult to anticipate. And if you're a leader, then how is that appropriate? How is that acceptable? It's not. So we need to, as young men, I believe that we need to take it seriously that words actually matter. We need to take the time to listen to people who are good orators, people who are good with their rhetoric. We need to listen to the way they convey things, and it's something we need to practice. When we speak with people, we need to be very intentional with what we're saying. Don't just let any message come out of your mouth. Think about it and then convey it. Now, I don't want anyone to just breeze past this and say, oh, what does it matter? You know, I can say, oh, you know what I mean, and maybe 80% of the time they get it. But the thing is as you begin to have more and more and more influence, you begin to see that even if 80% of people get it, that might start when you're talking to 10 people, that might start with 2 people being confused. But as your business potentially or your endeavor grows, that might climb to 1,000 people. That might climb to 10,000 people. Who knows? And that sounds extreme, but that's the whole point of this channel, is to get to a place that is so amazing, to help each other get to a place that is so amazing that no matter where we want to get to, it's possible. So again, guys, this was just kind of a quick video to really reiterate that it's important to mean what you say and say what you mean. You'll be taken more seriously, and not only that, you'll begin to have a richer understanding of the concepts that you're drawing circles around. Now, philosophers have known this for a long time. If you take your time to read, which I think every man should, take your time to read some classic philosophy, go and read Plato. He's an amazing place to just get so much information about not only the history of the way logic has been applied, but the history of the way logic has been built for the human beings. And we can begin to see that a lot of that comes down to the words we use and understanding and communicating with the person we're speaking with exactly what we mean to say and having them understand it. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. It's super important to mean what you say and say what you mean. You'll be taken more seriously. You'll be able to understand the world better, and the results that you want are actually more likely to come true. And the reason why is because you're able to align people around a common message, not an ambiguous message, but a common message. So if you guys like this content, please leave me a like. It pushes it out in the algorithm and lets other people just like you and me know that this channel is valuable and that they should use it to help improve themselves. Secondly, please subscribe to the channel. Like I said at the beginning, I would hate if you guys missed a video that was super important to your life and where you are right now. And finally, please leave me a comment if there's anything you want to see from this channel, anything you want to see me talk about, or any questions you have for me. I'd be very happy to answer those, and I answer every single one. So with that said, my name is Spencer. This is the Must Become YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.